Houston will receive the first half kick.
Beautiful Lucas Oil Stadium, downtown Indianapolis, as we get you set for the Colts and the Texans on this final Sunday of the NFL season. Indianapolis has won the toss. They have elected to defer, and so we will see Davis Mills and the Texans offense. Jay Feely on the field to begin. Tremendous pregame ceremony here. They had a gigantic American flag wrapped across the entire field. Beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Jay, and off we go here in week 18 with the futures of these coaching staffs, a lot of these players, and some big question marks that both of these teams have to answer in the offseason.
It has been an emotional week in the NFL community. Thankfully, DeMar is doing well, responding well, and that's really uplifted everybody coming into these games. But it's really brought home just how important every day and every moment is, and that we need to be grateful for that.
Indeed, as the Texans take the field, there will be Chase McLaughlin on the punt for the Colts. And Houston will have possession of the football. Colts 4-11-1. Remember, these two teams met back in the opening weekend of the season, a 20-20 tie in Houston, which really was the first kind of alarm bell for a Colts team that began the season with such high expectations. People felt like they could compete not only for the division, but certainly for the AFC crown. But obviously that seems like a long, long time ago. Get back to the line of scrimmage. Let's get our first NFL Today update. Back to New York we go.
Spiro, Jay, can you believe this?
Could not write the script any better. Opening kickoff in Buffalo, Nyheim Hines takes us 96 yards for the touchdown. Buffalo Bills, with everything going on, they're up 7-0 over New England.
Need we say more? Back to Spiro and Jay.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Coors Light, made to chill. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Please gamble responsibly. And by Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
State Capitol Building, downtown Indianapolis, New York.
A Patriots win, and they're in.
A 9-play, 74-yard drive ends right here with this 2-yard touchdown pass to Jacoby Myers. Gets his foot down in the back of the end zone. New England ties up Buffalo 7-7.
Back to Spiro and Jay.
Overall pick in that 2021 draft, initially the number 2 behind Tyrod Taylor. Remember the benching middle part of the year, and when he came back, they had a couple of weeks where they looked good.
What he's done better is not turn the ball over, and that's what he's done on the first half of the season. 13 interceptions this year. You just can't have that. You can't win playing that kind of football.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Allstate, reminding you that football is mayhem. And by Domino's. Get great deals on pizza, bread twist, chicken desserts, and more.
Royce Freeman, that's a first down run as he ducks inside the 35-yard line, and the cupboard is full. Remember last year, how are they going to get out from under the Deshaun Watson situation? Nick Caserio, made the moves, and they have 5 picks, Jay. So you want to have everything in place to make sure you can capitalize on what they've got.
Well, and you think it's going to be Bryce Young probably as the #1 overall pick out of Alabama, the Heisman Trophy winner from last year. And there's a big difference to me between the first pick and the second pick. To nearly
The 30-yard line. Well, they had a pretty good track record here for a long time of quarterbacks. Of course, Peyton and Andrew Luck. But since then, just hasn't been much to feel good about. Remember, they've spun the quarterback carousel here, Jay, each of the last 2 years. Carson Wentz last year, they thought that Matt Ryan was their guy. But obviously hasn't been the case.
It's really been 4 years. You had Jacoby Brissett step in, then you had Philip Rivers, then Wentz, then Matt Ryan.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Progressive, the right call to protect your home and car. And by Invisalign Aligners, transforming smiles, changing lives.
Reminder coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report is next. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores and highlights on the final Sunday of the NFL regular season. They're going to be lucky just to get a playoff here, and they will not. Final seconds will come off the clock as that Houston defense does its job. Malik Collins able to get to Ellinger first. So halftime here in Indianapolis with Houston holding a 10-point lead. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station.
What's up, Einstein?
My network has gone kaput.
You tried to save a buck on it.
I got what I paid for. Not so smart.
Nah, you're still a genius. But there is a smarter way to save.
Oh.
Switch to Verizon. For a limited time, get Welcome Unlimited for just $25 a line.
$25?
And it's guaranteed for 3 years.
Brilliant!
Well, you would know.
I'm switching.
I think the bike's probably faster.
Now is the best time to switch to Verizon for just $25 a line, guaranteed for 3 years. The savings that last on the network you want. Verizon.
The Grammys, live Sunday, February 5th on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
CBS Sports presents the Verizon Halftime Report.
And welcome back to our New York studio and the Verizon Halftime Report. It is the network that America relies on. JB, along with Coach Nate, Boomer, and Phil, and the highlights.
Let's get to these highlights. Patriots, Bills, and everybody excited because DeMar Hamlin tweets game time. And everyone in Buffalo is loving it, especially Nyheim Hines. This is the opening kickoff of the game. Nyheim Hines tap dancing his way down the field like Gregory Hines. You couldn't script it any better. Beginning of the game, Josh Allen can't believe it. But the Patriots, who need this win, will answer back. Mac Jones going to find Devontae Parker, lobs it up, back of the end zone, helmet or higher. It's knotted at 14 just before halftime.
Okay, guys, Ravens at the Bengals. Bengals win. They got a chance at the number 2 seed, depending on what Buffalo does. There's Joe Burrow. There's T. Higgins celebrating DeMar, of course. And that's going to be Joe Mixon. He's going to take it in. And how about this, guys? Pulls a quarter out, coin toss, just in case there is a coin toss. That 25 cents is going to turn into $10,000 worth of fines.
Inflation, huh?
That's inflation, boys. Jamar Chase for a touchdown pass. Joe Burrow, 18 of 28, 134 yards and 1 TD.
Okay, Boomer, a lot of highlights to go over here. The Jets at the Dolphins. Jets tie the game on a 32-yard field goal. 3-3 at half. You see the numbers by the quarterbacks. Tough offensive day so far.
That's enough, Phil. I'm on. Sean Watson's going to find David Njoku right here in the back of the end zone right there from 10 yards out. By Kenny Pickett to George Pickens. Pickett to Pickens from 31 yards out. Will tie the game up. A field goal now puts Pittsburgh up 10-7 at the end of the first half.
Vikings, Bears, second quarter. Vikings, Alexander Madison, he takes this in from 1 yard out. The Vikings, they're in control of this one. At halftime, it is 16-6 Vikings.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Panthers. Bucks, Tom Brady played in the game. Hits Kyle Rudolph in the end zone for an 8-yard touchdown. 7-0 at that time. Tampa, they lead at the end of the first half, 17-10 over Atlanta.
Okay, guys, let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture. Of course, tonight, if Green Bay wins, they are in. The Giants and the Eagles are playing at 4:25 today right here on CBS. Philadelphia wins, they get the number 1 seed. And, of course, the Cowboys and the Commanders are playing as well. Philadelphia loses and Cowboys win. They get up to the number 1 seed potentially and the NFC East championship. Over in the AFC, it really is about New England. If New England wins, they are in. If they do not win and Miami wins, then they are in. If both New England and Miami lose and Pittsburgh wins, then they are in at the 7th seed. And quite frankly, it looks like right now, if I had a crystal ball in front of me, man, I don't know what to think about New England and Buffalo.
Well, listen,
this is really interesting.
Just a second ago, the Bills were in scoring position, or at least the field goal to kick one right before halftime, and Josh Allen throws an interception, and New England gets the ball back. So this is one of those games that can go back and forth all game
so
long.
what happens if Buffalo loses and Cincinnati wins? Buffalo would go to the 3 seed. Cincinnati would go to the 2 seed. The other thing, too, if Baltimore loses, essentially the Chargers have nothing to play for later on against the Denver Broncos.
I know. was kind of hoping that Baltimore would win because I wanted to see the coin flip because they're going to do a coin flip to see where the game will be played. But
if those two teams lined up in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, but I think I'm talking about Baltimore. I think Baltimore's going to have to win, but they rested a bunch of starters in this game. Cincinnati's up 24-7. But you look at the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game, the New York Jet and Miami game. These are close games. They have playoff implications, and you're playing like that.
Yeah, you know, the Patriots, they're playing like it, too. They're playing more aggressive day. Mac Jones, he thinks he's Josh Allen day, way he's moving around throwing the football. Terrific first half.
Yeah.
If I'm the New England Patriots on defense, go after Josh Allen, keep him in the pocket, make him beat you throwing the football down the field.
The one thing I would say, if the Houston Texans beat the Indianapolis Colts today and the Bears lose to the Minnesota Vikings, the Bears will have the #1 overall pick in this coming draft.
We just saw a little mental alacrity with Love as Nate watched you closely to make sure that he could give you that word and make you look good. Yeah. All right, the Verizon Halftime Report continues.
CBS Sports presents the Verizon Halftime Report. The network you deserve. The savings that last.
Impact. It can go unseen.
Presents the Verizon Halftime Report. The network you deserve. The savings that last.
Back here for the Verizon Halftime Report. Late game coming up on CBS. You see the big one, Giants at the Eagles. Boomer, a lot at stake at the top of the NFC.
That's right. The #1 seed is still available for the Philadelphia Eagles. They win, they get the #1 seed, and they win the NFC East. If they lose, then the Cowboys, if they beat the Commanders, they can be the winners of the AFC East and also get to the #1 seed if San Francisco loses to Arizona, which we doubt is going to happen. For the Chargers, if the Baltimore Ravens lose, they really don't have to play anybody against the Denver Broncos because they will be locked in on the 5th seed and go to Jacksonville next week.
Isn't this a great time of the season?
I do love it.
And you are fired up as the Verizon Halftime Report continues.
CBS Friday.
We have an inmate firefighter who's calling over.
Want to stay up to date? Just tell Siri, show me football standings.
Colts and Texans wrapping up their regular seasons here on the final Sunday of the season in Indianapolis. There's your score as we get you set for the second half. Spiro Dedes and Jay Feely. Turnovers, really the story for Sam Ehlinger and the Indianapolis Colts, Jay, in the first half, including that 39-yard pick six by Jonathan Bernard.
Yeah, 2 bad interceptions by the young quarterback. Just this one here was, like you said, friendly fire. Got the ball knocked out by his own player, but right here, don't throw that ball and put it up in jeopardy. And then he makes the same mistake again. The second one got deflected, but again, putting it in harm's way, and this Texans defense makes him pay. But I wanted to ask Siri, Siri, should the Texans win this game? The Bears are trying to lose their game.
First half statistics, and that's, if you're a fan of the Texans, that's certainly something that's on your mind. Houston wins this game, and the Bears lose to Minnesota, and they are down. That means that instead of getting the first overall pick, Houston would pick second. And oh, by the way, the Bears have pulled their number 2 quarterback.
They started their number 2. They pulled him at halftime. Probably saw the score of this game and put in their number 3 quarterback. I mean, if you're the first overall pick, you could pick up a couple extra picks. If the Texans have to move up from 2 to 1, or if somebody jumps high, you can pick up a couple first-round picks if somebody goes from 5 to 1.
And, Jay, look, we're sitting here making light of the situation. If you're a player or a coach for the Texans, no one cares about
I understand.
that scenario.
I've been in that situation. You could care less, but the franchise does care.
Certainly the fans watching at home. Dallas Flowers getting to the 20 and trying to cut back line. There's so much negative talk around Houston, and rightfully so. It's been a really difficult year. But, Jay, look at the nucleus of young players.
Sure. I mean, when you talk about this rookie class right here, that's a pretty good rookie class.
Lest we forget John Mechie, their second-round pick, who had the just shocking cancer diagnosis. Hopeful to get him back at some point. But you got some building blocks to build around. And now can they add to that with all the picks that they have in this next draft?
That's what Nick Caserio, the GM, that's what he does best, his player acquisition. That's where his past and his history is going and finding the right players, drafting the right players. Those last 2 drafts, they've done a good job. You look at this year, $65 million in dead money. They couldn't do a lot in free agency.
Inside Houston territory. Well, the Colts' entire defensive line hosted 16 teenagers from the Bloom Project's Kings Mentorship Program. The program helps with preparation for high school, college, and career opportunities in the future. The Colts surprised each kid with holiday gifts, new suits, and tickets to a Colts game. All done by Colts franchise. It's inside the 45-yard line. This is your draft order as it sits right now. Remember, Houston loses this game. They're guaranteed to the 1. But, Jay, if they win and Chicago loses to Minnesota, those 2 will flip-flop at the top.
Minnesota is up 23-6 right now on Chicago. So Chicago doing their part to try and get that #1 pick.
They'll tack on some more yardage here. But, you know, remember, this was really the start of Indy's downfall. They went to Jacksonville last weekend of the season in a win and they're in scenario. And that only lost this game, Jay. They were barely competitive.
I think that's where Frank Reich got in trouble with Jim Irsay. That it started in that game there, and bringing Carson Wentz in and vouching for him, and it really not working out.
Quarter. Well, Saturday, more college basketball comes your way on CBS. A fantastic Big Ten matchup between number 14 Wisconsin and 15th ranked Indiana. It all begins at 12:30 with our Inside College Basketball crew. That's Saturday right here on CBS.
You'll be doing a lot of Indiana games coming up here, huh?
You're here for 4 straight weeks. I'm checking real estate trends in Indianapolis.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Discover, exceptionally common sense, and by Indeed, we help people get jobs.
Now there's Reggie Wayne, one of the Hall of Fame finalists, recently announced what a career now wide receivers coach.
Well, all 3 of them are very deserving. Andre Johnson, Dwight Freeney, Reggie Wayne.
Game so far had the opening kickoff fumble, trying to pick up the pieces. Well, the NFL playoffs are here, and it all starts next weekend. 12 teams, 6 games, 3 days, and 1 epic weekend. Super Wild Card Weekend presented by Verizon. Saturday through Monday. You can visit NFL.com/schedule for the full slate. And as always, every NFL on CBS game begins with the NFL Today, headlined by James Brown, the 25-yard line. Well, this is the updated playoff picture. Right now, the Chargers primed to take that number 5 slot. These would be the matchups, as Jay points out. So Jacksonville tied at number 4. New England right now is losing. Miami is winning. So if those 2 results hold,
that puts Miami in.
Miami is in.
48.
Well, the NFL community mourns the loss of the man heralded as the father of modern officiating. Art McNally passed away last week at the age of 97. For more than 2 decades, he was the league's supervisor of officials, spearheading the introduction of instant replay back in 1986 and leaving a mark that pioneered how we watch the NFL on Sundays. In August, his legacy was etched into Canton as the first on-field official inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
My respect for officials has grown immensely as I've done this job, because I'm on the plane ride home with them all the time, and I sit next to them and I watch them get their laptops out and go through the game immediately afterward, talk about the good calls they made, the bad calls, how to get better, and fans just don't see that kind of aspect. They just get frustrated when they see bad calls.
Lovie Smith.
Jeff's lost about 40 pounds since that picture right there. Long time for both of them. Lovie obviously went up and was a head coach at Illinois, and then came down as a defensive coordinator, then elevated this year. And he's a very good man. He is an absolutely kind gentleman, a good man, and a very good defensive coach.
He's had a very distinguished career in the NFL. Such a respected football man.
Yeah, that gets lost sometimes. You know, you start talking about head coaching position, whether they're going to change it. A lot of times we forget about the individual, and it's a tough situation that he stepped into as the head coach here.
And Jay, you rarely see franchises fire a coach after 1 year. They fired David Culley after less than a calendar year.
It's never happened twice in a row.
In consecutive years. Just crazy to think that that's even in the realm of possibility. Of course, as we mentioned at the top, there are already reports now starting to trickle out about potential moves that Houston could make.
And that's a reflection, Spiro, of the GM, of Nick Caserio. You can't, beat around that, because he's the one who went out and picked both David Culley and then decided, to elevate Lovie Smith. I talked about how I think he does a very good job evaluating talent and drafting talent. So that's a hard decision to decide, do you stay, if you're going to make a move, do you stay with Nick Caserio as well?
Rodney Thomas, high school teammate of DeMar Hamlin's. Had a chance to visit with him this week, called Hamlin a mentor, made the 2.5-hour drive to Cincinnati Tuesday morning to see his former teammate, and boy, just imagine the emotion going through him.
Yeah, he got to talk to him. He wasn't able to hear him or anything yet, and then they were able to communicate at the end of this week, and you know how much that means to that young man to be able to honor one of his best friends.
They played at Central Catholic High School together in Pittsburgh. So we've got an injured Texan here. There's Kurt Heinisch, who was also part of that Pennsylvania State championship team. 10 and change left in this fourth quarter. Coming up next, game 2 of our NFL on CBS season finale. It's highlighted by an NFC East rivalry between two teams headed for the postseason when the Giants head down the turnpike to take on the Eagles. It's all coming up next right here on CBS. The Eagles win, and they will lock up the #1 seed, Jay, in the NFC.
I think the NFC, it's wide open because you don't know. I think anybody in the NFC could go and win and get into that Super Bowl.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon, the network you deserve, the savings that last. Farmers Insurance. Get a quote at farmers.com. And by Burger King.
Well, the Texans have had the top 3 pick 5 times in their franchise history. They will pick either 1 or 2 this year. Coach took Derek Stingley with the #3 overall pick last year.
He's going to be a good player, too. We saw him a couple times this year, and then he got injured, but that's a good pick.
He's been out since week 10 with that hamstring injury. Noon. First down, Colts, a pickup of 11. This is what they have in the cupboard in terms of their draft capital, and a lot of that, of course, stemmed from the Deshaun Watson deal. Jay, everyone wondered last year, how would Nick Caserio get out from under that Watson situation? Such a nightmare on so many different levels, but from this perspective only, they acquitted themselves well.
Yeah, you got the 2 first, the 2 thirds, but 4 6-round picks as well. It gives you a lot of flexibility in the draft to be able to move around.
And Jay, we have the wave going here at Lucas Oil Stadium.
I give the Colts fans credit. I mean, when you have this game and 2 of the worst offenses in the NFL going head-to-head, they came out. There's a lot of people here. They supported him. They have been into this game, cheering. These are good fans here, and they deserve a really good team.
I have not seen the wave in quite a long time. It is.
I'm just impressed that you jumped in and did the wave with him.
It's my reflex.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds you to drink responsibly, and by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Back with you, under 2 minutes left